You are in the ladies' room with Dr. Donnica, the only public ladies' room you can enter anytime without ever waiting online. I'm your host, Dr. Donnica Moore. We'll be having real conversations with real women about really intimate issues. They may be embarrassing, sad, or funny, but they will always be interesting and informative. You know, like the best conversations you've had in ladies' rooms with your best friends, or total strangers and a physician. Please join us. Welcome to the ladies' room. We have quite a fun guest today. I am in the ladies' room with a real housewife of New Jersey, Dolores Catania. And I'm also in New Jersey. Hello.
Hi.
I just want to tell our guests a little bit about you, and then I can't wait to talk to you about everything, because we were chit-chatting before and we were having so much fun, and I was like, wait, I have to hit record. Anyway, okay. Dolores is a mother, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and the living embodiment of a modern-day real housewife of New Jersey. She's from Paterson, New Jersey, sort of the heart of our state. I'm down here in Chester, New Jersey. Dolores has been the master of reinvention, and that's what we're all about on this podcast. She started as a corrections officer, then trained to be a surgical technician. I want to hear more about that. But she's fueled her passion for all things New Jersey as a licensed realtor for 15 years at Premier Realty. Most recently, she opened 2 powerhouse fitness centers. Dolores takes great pride in her family, which includes her 2 children, who are young adults now, Gabrielle and Frankie. And she has an interesting co-parenting relationship with her ex-husband and a business relationship, I understand. My ex-husband and I are lucky if we can cordially say hello to each other when we run into each other at something with the kids. And of course, she has 2 beloved rescue dogs, Loli and Lola.
I have 3 and 4 at a time, and 5 and 6 sometimes.
Oh my goodness.
It's growing. It's got to stop.
Yeah. Well, at least you didn't become a cat lady.
Yes, that's next.
She supports the Onyx and Breezy Foundation, whose mission is to improve and save the lives of animals. She's also an advocate for St. Joseph's Children's Hospital. And she's prioritized her children and her family for the past 20 years. But Dolores has also learned to put herself higher on her own to-do list this year with a diet and weight loss regimen that we're going to talk about. After all, it is still January, and we are all still thinking about and hopefully acting upon our New Year's resolutions. Welcome, Dolores.
Hello. That was a lot.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to you.
When I hear you talk about myself, it's like, going through the steps of my life, I never thought a thing of anything I was doing.
Right.
And then to look back now and hear it, and when I talk about it, and I speak to so many women, I'm like, it just seems like a lot.
Yeah. And, we don't always admit how many years we have been on this earth, but it's been a long time, and we've
47.
47. I've got 9 years on you.
Oh, so. You look great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you do need those glasses.
No.
Before we started recording, we were talking about LASIK and reading glasses. When I got reading glasses, I thought that was the best thing ever. And just, I could see again.
It's unbelievable. After 40, all of a sudden, everything got blurry. And I speak to so many women, they're like, yep, after 40, like the day after your birthday,
it was literally the next day.
I was actually, the next day.
When I was turning 40, I was literally doing a national speaking tour program with Lauren Hutton about menopause.
Wow.
And she's a few years older
about
than
that
me.
Too. Yeah.
And she had a line of eyeglasses at the time, and she's fabulous. Talk about somebody who is incredibly accomplished. And she used this line that I have stolen and repeated a million times since then. She said, if you're over 40 and you're not wearing glasses, it's because you haven't been to the eye doctor.
That's right. That's exactly right. It is what it is.
It is. And I think that's nature's way of being kind to us, because we don't see every wrinkle and blemish in the mirror.
Oh my God. If you want to look at it that way, yes. Then don't buy the glasses.
So tell me what's going on with your gyms.
My gyms are great. They are new. I bought one last year in Old Bridge with an old partner of mine named Maz. And it's funny because in New Jersey is very incestuous. Like everyone knows everybody, right? It's like no matter.
And now we know each other.
And now we know each other. We probably know people that know each other. So that worked out good, but it was kind of far for me. And then I got the opportunity to buy another gym, and it fell in my lap. It was a great deal. And I said, I wasn't ready for this, but I might as well. I'm on a roll. I might as well do it. In a million years, 20 years ago when I was sitting home crying over my divorce, would I ever think that I can make it to this point? Never, ever, ever. But you just don't stop. You just keep going.
So, and the name of the gym is Powerhouse?
Powerhouse of Whippany.
Okay.
Yep, Route 10, Powerhouse in Whippany. It's I love it because it's like a really family atmosphere. All the women get together. They work out in the morning. They're not cliquey.
Do you have childcare?
We have childcare there. You never wait for a machine. The classes are amazing. There's all different ages of all different instructors. There's hot yoga, boxing. But the people there are so extremely nice and inviting. And I have everything from bodybuilders going into bikini contests to 70-year-old couples that are just on the treadmill together.
And what do you do? What's your favorite thing to do at the gym?
Oh, I hate working out like poison. There is no favorite thing.
Said the owner of a gym.
I like to sit there and eat my shakes. That's what I like. But there's no choice anymore. I did take a hiatus for a while and I paid for it.
Okay. And how did you pay for it?
I gained a lot of weight. I got sluggish. I felt more tired all the time because, being married to Mr. New Jersey, there was no downtime. And then dating bodybuilders, because that was my type, unfortunately. You date them and you're always eating right. And then I met a man that wasn't into that. And I was like, hey, I don't mind sitting down watching TV, eating ice cream. This is great. But, then all of a sudden, everything just did not work out that way.
So do you think it was the relationship that triggered the weight gain, or was it other things in your life?
It was a lot of things. It was, first of all, I have always had I love to eat. People, I live to eat. People eat to live. I love to eat, and I just, I can't get enough of it.
That's what I always say. I'm on the seafood diet. I see food and I eat it.
And I eat a lot of it. It's unbelievable. And people look at me and they're like, no. But a few years ago, I was almost 180 pounds. Then I found out it was also my thyroid was off. And now, there's menopause. And just, I have to totally change all of this. I'm not going to feel this way. I'm not going to feel my clothes tight because it actually makes me depressed. And I don't want that. Inherently, I'm a happy person. And I don't want this to get the best of me.
So what have you been doing to take steps to turn it around?
Well, to take steps, I had a complete blood workup done.
Okay, that's a good start.
You have to start with that because there's hormones involved now.
Right.
And a lot of people have thyroid issues and they don't realize it. Do you agree with me, doctor?
Oh, absolutely. Thyroid issues increase as we age.
Okay, I did not know that.
In fact, whenever women are going through perimenopause, which is what I call the evil younger sister of menopause, which
that's me.
Anywhere from 2 to 10 years before menopause. We don't know exactly how long it lasts, but a lot of women who have symptoms during that time period, it's very confusing because a lot of the symptoms of menopause are also symptoms of thyroid problems. And interestingly, a lot of the symptoms of anxiety and depression are also the symptoms of thyroid problems and can also be the symptoms of menopause. So the first thing that your doctor probably wants to do if you come in and say, I feel like, my world is changing and I'm gaining weight and all these things, of course, they're going to do a complete physical exam. And of course, they're going to take a complete history. But when they do your blood work, the thyroid test is an easy one to just make sure that's not a problem. And now, many people have overactive thyroid and many people have an underactive thyroid.
Well, of course, I'd get the underactive. That wouldn't be my luck to have the overactive. I never beat the odds. I promise you that. So what about there's a lot of talk about the T3, T4.
So T3 and T4 are different types of thyroid tests, and they represent different types of thyroid molecule in your system. And what your doctor is going to do is see which ones are elevated. The first thing they're going to do is a test called TSH, which is thyroid stimulating hormone. And that's kind of a screen. If that's elevated, then they will look at all the other thyroid tests as well to kind of narrow down what kind of thyroid problem that you have.
Right. So that's been a factor in my life. And I cannot deny that I overeat and I eat too much at one time. There's times that I'm anxious. I realized I started to take notice. I said, what is it? What is it I'm doing? And I started to take notice of all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, I just ate so much that I have to lay down because I made myself sick.
Okay.
Because I was nervous. Look at the show. Look at the show I'm on. How could I not be anxious? I never know what's coming at me, what's not coming at,
So do you think the show, now you joined the show when?
I joined the show. This is my second season.
Okay. So do you think that joining the show was a trigger for you as well?
You know what? I think my kids, it's just everything. There is the fact that I eat a lot. I've been more sedentary. I haven't been working out because I'm more busy. I'm a lot busier. My kids left. I'm empty nest now. That made me very, very anxious. I had my first anxiety attack. I'm perimenopausal, maybe even menopausal, who knows? So these are all things, and I have to take control of it. So I got on the right medication, and then I realized I'm still not losing weight. I have to look at the way I'm eating. And when I sat down and realized I was eating too much, and no matter how much I tried to stop, I couldn't, then I looked into the Ovalone system.
Okay, so tell us about that, because I'm sure most of our listeners have not heard of this.
A lot of people haven't. And the Ovalone is a system where it's a series of 3 capsules that you swallow, and it they fill it up with air or gas, whatever it is in your stomach. It's not painful. It's not invasive in any way. You don't have to go under anesthesia. And it fills your stomach with 3 balloons. They're like the size, I always explain it like the size of what you put in the, the get well baskets, or like the plants. And you're not, with these balloons in your stomach, it's like a tool to make you not eat so much. It actually, you're not capable. Your stomach is full. You still feel hungry.
And
but
what
when
happens?
You sit down
what happens if you do eat too much? Do you throw up, or do you get sick?
That I'm not a throw up person. Like I'll just run. It was like, you ever watch the video of the honey badger when it has to sleep after it just ate a horse? That was basically what you feel like. And it's a little bit hard. You don't know how to gauge yourself when you first get these balloons. So when you overeat, you don't feel good. Your stomach feels like crampy. You have to, you just feel sick and you lay down. Some people I've heard, they do throw up, but that didn't happen to me. It's not my thing. And I just realized that it really made me very mindful of how much I was eating. It's unbelievable that I'm not even heavier than I was. I've gained 20 pounds in the past year. And I went on every diet, and I would do this and I would do that, but I would always go back to sitting down. You can't go on a Sunday and eat like a big bowl of pasta and all this stuff and think that's okay. It's not okay anymore at this age. It's okay when you're in your 20s and you could lose, and you're going out with your friends on Friday. So on Tuesday, you decide not to eat till Friday and you lose 3 pounds. It's not happening anymore.
Right.
So, a moment on your lips, forever on your hips. After 40, I promise you that is the case. Yeah. So this system has really helped me it's almost like it's teaching me how to really eat. I never learned how to eat. I always ate standing up.
Yeah.
Fast.
My understanding is that part of this process is, are you meeting with a nutritionist or a dietitian?
I'm meeting with a nutritionist every day. I'm once a week.
Okay.
And every day and I'm accountable. I'm accountable to her, and I don't want to go in there and be like, well, I didn't do what I was supposed to do and this and that. She's lovely, but she's making me calorie count, and it's nothing I've ever done in my life. I mean, listen, I was in bodybuilding. I was a size 2. I was everything. I had abs. I had shoulders. I had biceps. They're gone. Everything's gone.
Yeah, I was a size 2, but I was 12 years old at the time.
Yes, I was like 27, and now it's like, okay, these pounds aren't coming off, and my eating isn't going to work for me anymore like this. So I feel like it's like, I call it the menopause makeover is what I'm doing. And this is my first step to really getting to eating normal, sitting down. She said, you have to sit down. You have to chew your food. That's another thing with Ovalone. You have to chew your food, which is something I inhale my food and I'm stopping myself now. So she gave me a diet, and like I said, I start to count my calories, and I'm like halfway through the day, and I'm like, whoa, almost at my limit. I better calm down here. Yeah. But I must have been, and it, like I said, I've never counted my calories. Never had to. Now I do. So
And are you using
Ovalone
an
is
app?
teaching me.
Are you using an app or are you using an old-fashioned pen and
Old fashioned, everything. Listen,
paper?
I'm antiquated. I still walk around with a paper book that I write all my my things where I have to be, and I have a calendar that's hanging on my wall. It's just the way I am.
Mm-hmm.
But the app, I'm sure, is great for people that can handle that.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing this? When did you start?
Okay. Well, here you go. Have you seen the reunion? Did you see?
I heard what's airing tomorrow night.
Well, that's the second part.
Okay. I didn't see the first part then.
Danielle called me fat at the reunion.
Oh,
yes, she did. And so I was very chubby and I was bloated, and so I saw this was coming. And a week before the reunion, I had my first balloon.
mm-hmm. Okay.
So, and I felt, if I had not taken a step and saw myself in the way I looked, I would have been so much more, upset than I am now. My face is even thinner, and I'm letting the nutritionist weigh me, and she says I'm doing great every week, but I don't want to know how much I've lost.
Oh, okay. Because that's a different approach.
It's a mental thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel my clothes are bigger, but I also feel like I'm not poison. To me, sometimes food is poison. Mm-hmm. And I'm not waking up anymore like I destroyed myself the night before.
Right.
Because I'm not even hungry after 6.
Wow, that's awesome.
I'm not eating after 6 o'clock. I don't want it. I'm full. I'm good.
Terrific. That's terrific. And I think you said a couple of things that I think apply to just about everybody who needs to lose X number of pounds, whatever it is, whether it's 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 or more. And that is the number one thing is mindfulness. Just being aware of what you're eating, because most of us, especially when we're all caught up in the kids and the house and the career and the jobs and the buying things and, we're running around, we're not really paying attention to what we're eating along the way. Part of it is because we're eating on the run. Some of us are eating in the car. Some of us are driving through the fast food.
It's unbelievable.
Some of us are stopping in the food court at the mall. And I started paying attention to this, how many people I see just passing me on the street, walking and eating at the same time.
It's so terrible.
Something like in a movie, we can't get through a 2-hour movie without eating popcorn and candy. And it makes so much noise.
It's habits.
It's habits. And it's not paying attention. So I think the mindfulness issue is huge. And then you said another thing I think that's really important for everybody who's on this journey is you mentioned a few things like that doesn't work for me or that does work for me, or like saying you're getting weighed by the nutritionist, but you don't want to know the number. Some women, on the other hand, like I feel like when I need to focus, I need to weigh myself every morning because it just is a reminder and it helps with that mindfulness and it helps, but that's what works for me. I think, the gauge of your clothes fitting better or your face, looking, thinner. I think that's generally one of the first places we see it when we lose weight is in our face. And then the next place is in our bust.
That's next, yes.
The last place is in the thighs.
The thighs are, I know, it's rough. And I've also been and I'm doing cardio.
Good. What?
I'm getting back to reality and what I used to be. I'm not building these expectations that I'm going to have a 12-pack at the end of this. I just want to feel good again. Mm-hmm. I want to stop overeating because it's the worst thing you could do. My grandmother just passed away. She's 104.
Wow.
And she had all her wits, everything. She didn't need glasses. How about that? She didn't. And I looked at her and I realized one of the things that came to mind is I never saw her eat a potato chip. Mm-hmm. I never saw her eat junk. Mm-hmm. Never. Everything was homemade. She never ate a lot. She would have a hard-boiled egg for a snack. And, I looked at her and I'm like, I have a feeling that that's got a lot to do with health.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And how you're going to go.
She probably didn't smoke.
She did back in the day, but she's quit a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And I really think food is the biggest culprit to so many things. It is in
our society. And we know that people can reduce their risk of heart disease by 80% if they correct their dietary and exercise and behavioral choices. And one of the things we've learned in the past few years is how important sleep is. How awesome is that? Lose weight by sleeping more.
Well, I can tell you that I've always been made to feel guilty if I slept too much.
All right.
It's a
Now, there's a
cultural
difference
thing.
between sleeping enough and sleeping too much.
Okay, well, I said the wrong thing. How about enough? Like, I mean, you don't sleep past 7 a.m. I don't care if it's Saturday. And,
Where
you,
are these rules coming from?
it's an Italian thing.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, Italians are not big sleepers because you're always supposed to be working and busy, Don't be
Although
lazy.
if you go to Italy, they have their siesta time in the afternoon after lunch. I think that's brilliant.
It is absolutely brilliant, but it's not happening here. Not in here.
No, and napping actually can be, very healthy especially if you're not getting enough sleep. We have this culture of like feeling like we've got to, be able to do more and sleep less. And that's, taking a toll on our health. And certainly as we approach menopause. Now, it sounds like you're not quite there yet.
No, I think I am.
All right. So have you not had a period for over 12 months?
I had an ablation.
Okay.
Because I had heavy periods and I was anemic.
Okay. And that's a big problem.
It's a big problem.
When did
so
you
I
have
don't
that?
know. I had it in April.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's a correlation. Like, I think around April time is when I started to feel a lot of weight gain.
Okay. So just so that everybody knows what an ablation is. All right. When we talk about an ablation, it's an endometrial ablation. All right.
Right.
So it deals with the tissues of the uterus, but your ovaries could still be functioning. So even though you technically haven't had a period because you've had this ablation procedure, we don't really know what's going on with your ovaries. So I suspect that when you had your blood work, your doctor probably did a test called the FSH.
Yes, I remember seeing that.
The closest thing to a menopause test we have, it's not really that reliable. You'd have to do it several times. But for women like yourself who are not having periods for a reason totally unrelated to menopause, it can sometimes help us gauge where you are in terms of, being in menopause or not.
Well, I was right there, they said. The doctor said, she goes, well, it could be on the cusp, but I'm going to say you're in menopause now.
Okay. And the anemia is corrected now?
Yes.
Okay,
actually,
great.
yes.
Awesome. Yeah. 25% of women who are still menstruating have a low blood count or anemia because of heavy periods. And it can really take its toll.
That took its toll on me as well.
Causes fatigue.
Oh, the fatigue. I was, I was a person who would go and go and go and go until, from the minute I woke up until 11:30 at night, my feet hit the ground and I didn't sit down until I went to sleep. That was my life and that was me. And when I started to become very anemic, that also another thing that bothered me. It's depressing. Course. Where's my energy?
That's a serious medical problem.
Well, I had to get transfusions.
Oh, wow. Okay. So then that's a very serious medical problem.
Yeah. And it was only I went to Canyon Ranch and I had all this blood work done because I was feeling terrible and they called me. I love Canyon Ranch. Canyon Ranch called me and they're like, you have a serious anemia. It's like a problem. Wow. So it's a lot of things, a lot of factors involved. I think stress releases cortisol.
Absolutely.
But I'm looking at now, I want to say the biggest culprit was I ate too much.
Okay. So my new mantra is you can't out-train a bad diet. And I say that to myself in the mirror every single day. Because I do. Exactly. I want to exercise more. But when I do 30 minutes on the elliptical, going like full out, I burn about 302 calories in 30 minutes. That's 2 cookies.
Right. If you look at it that way, it's just not worth it. Okay. You have to be mindful of it. And now I'm counting and now I'm not overeating because I don't want to feel sick like that. Yeah. And I'm getting attached to my balloons, I have to say. Now,
the balloons, my understanding is the whole process is over in 6 months. And then they have to
6 months.
Removed.
Yeah, I don't want them to go.
And just for our audience, tell them how they have to be removed.
Well, it's almost like I would describe an upper GI. You go, they put a scope down your throat and I guess they pop them and bring them out that way.
Right. So it's called an endoscopy procedure.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So that's the only part of this that is invasive.
The only part.
And they do put you to sleep for that.
They do. They do put you to sleep for that. But to stand there, a lot of people aren't eligible for the lap band, number one, because they're too heavy or they're not healthy enough to go under.
Right.
So this is why I feel it's fairly safe. I have no trepidation with this at all.
I was very impressed when I learned about it. I said, where do I sign up? And
Oh,
the other thing that's different about this, obviously, than a lap band procedure or other bariatric surgeries, is that this is for people who also have a lot less that they need to lose.
well, this is, I believe,
Eligible for bariatric
50
surgery, you have to be over 100 pounds overweight, which you
over
certainly were
100
not.
pounds. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is about, they say for people that want to lose about half that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a start. And I think that people have to be more mindful of how much they eat. And this is a tool that teaches you not to overeat. There's no pleasure of overeating with this. Trust me when I tell
So
you.
in addition to counting calories, seeing a nutritionist, doing more
You're
cardio,
doing
what
more,
else
well,
do
you
you-
feel like you can because you're not eating too much.
right. And you're eating sitting down.
You're
You're
eating sitting
planning.
down.
What about when you go to a restaurant? What changes have you made?
No dessert.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? You can eat the dessert if you don't eat too much and you're not full. You can eat whatever you want. It's up to you. But it's a journey that I just started and I want to stay on track.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, it sounds like you're doing great. Absolutely great in that department.
I'm very happy
Mm-hmm.
because my two things that I could never stop on my own, and I admit that I couldn't do it on my own, was I ate too fast and I ate too much.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not happening. And I really wasn't mindful of how many calories I was taking in.
Yeah. So do you think that once the balloons are removed, that you're going to be able to continue this now and stay on track?
I never want to feel the way I did before I had these balloons. And I don't want to look that way again either.
Okay. I think that's, a really important message. If you had one thing to tell people who are listening about this procedure or about this process, what would it be?
Don't even give it a second thought. Yeah, don't, because it's nothing to be scared of. You can always DM me. I would tell anybody my experience with it. There's no downtime. There's nothing bad I could say about it. It's saving me. I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to save you from getting too far ahead. I mean, take care of it before it gets too far out of hand. This is something that I think, like, I wanted to get a handle on what was going on with me, and this helped me do it. I don't wait till you're way too overweight to do this.
And did you have any other problems going before this, like high blood pressure or high cholesterol or
No.
any other abnormalities on your blood work?
No.
All right.
No, but I could promise you that if you keep eating the way I was eating, I would have had the problem.
Right. And that's the thing. You can develop pre-diabetes, you can develop diabetes, you can develop high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and then a combination of those things is something we call metabolic syndrome, which affects women around the time of menopause. Menopause is really like a perfect storm. A lot of these things aren't caused by menopause, but just the changes in all our hormones. It kind of makes us feel like we're totally out of whack. And then whenever you're tired, there's this natural feeling that, oh, if I'm tired, I'm low energy, therefore I need fuel. So the instinct is to eat something, especially something with sugar, because then we get that rush. And then 20 minutes later, you crash.
Break the bad habits before they break you. That's how I have to say it. Because mentally, I didn't like the way I looked. Physically, I felt horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It was really starting to really take a hold on me.
So how do you think it affected your personality?
Oh, I just feel a lot. I'm back to myself. I'm upbeat again. And I feel just physically, I feel better. Emotionally, I feel better because I did something about it.
That's great. Anyway, I could talk to you all day and we could talk about all this stuff.
We'll have a girls' night.
That would be fun, and no dessert. But I don't think any of my listeners will forgive me if I don't ask you what we can expect on the big reunion tomorrow, aside from the fact that you're going to be looking fabulous. And I'm guessing you'll have some choice words for...
Yeah. Let's see. Wow. It's explosive. That, like, if the first word that comes to my head is explosive. Mm-hmm. Me and Danielle get into it. Kim D shows up. Her and Teresa go at it. Mm-hmm. And it's something to see. I think they're Andy Cohen is very happy with this season.
Yeah, there's something wrong with that when somebody's happy when things are more
Yeah.
explosive and more negative.
He was so happy. And there's a cute little thing that happens at the end. So tune in.
I can't wait to see it. And so where can people tune in?
Oh, it's on Bravo,
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday night, 9:00.
That's awesome. And of course, our podcasts live forever. So we're talking about Wednesday night, tomorrow night, which is January 20. I have to put my glasses on. 23rd, January 23rd. That's the other, back to the glasses. So one of the things we like to, actually, I just got a message on Twitter saying, be sure to ask her what's going on with her and Frank.
Oh, me and Frank are just me and Frank. There's nothing really, nothing has changed. It's status quo.
Okay. So then the other question.
Actually, other than the fact we're closer, like we've grown closer. Sometimes I feel like we're a married couple, but not. It's kind of weird. Like we go out to breakfast together. I just said to him before I got on the phone with you, you want to go to lunch? You know, he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I already ate. I'm sorry. Tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. And are you seeing somebody else?
I'm still seeing my boyfriend.
Yay.
Who's very busy. Yes. He's nice. And we've been through our things.
And you've been together for how long?
Since the last October, right? I went on a blind date with him the day after the reunion last year.
Wow. And who introduced you?
Siggy. He's a perinatologist.
Wow.
And he delivered somebody that she knows, friends of hers. She was at the christening and he walked in and that's how they met.
That's great.
Yeah. What I don't say on the reunion, which I don't know if you hear, I think I might've said, there were some jealousy issues in his life with friends of his, like 2 girlfriends, friends that are girls, that was our biggest problem. And, you know, I'm really too old for that.
Yeah.
So he's a great guy. That needs to be addressed.
Okay. And so I'm sure you will address it when the time is right and you'll talk about it.
Yes, I will. And,
you
know, and, but him and Frank get along very well. And I see Frank way more than I see him. So. And
everybody else,
no jealousy,
including me, is saying like, how did this happen? Yeah.
You wouldn't believe how did this happen, because if you were here 20 years ago when I was sitting in that kitchen and he came home and said, I have to leave because I don't know where my girlfriend is. And I said, then I need a ride to the hospital because I'm having your son in 2 minutes.
Oh my God, this is right before you had Frankie.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And I mean, when I walked around for 5 years, like somebody punched me in the stomach.
Oh my God. I didn't realize the timing of all of this.
The night. Yeah.
So your message to women right now who are going through the breakup.
My message to women, and I go through this all the time, is you can get through it. You will make it. Men and women that have their heart broken. You will not die from this broken heart, and you will love again, and you will live, and you will be happy. And I promise you, even though you think you will not, I promise you, you will.
That is a great message. So we're going to wrap up, but before I let you go, there's a couple of questions we ask everybody at the end of each segment.
Oh no, I'm scared. Questions make me nervous now. Show.
Yeah, that was just a conversation. Well, this whole theme is in the ladies' room, and we're just chit-chatting like girls.
Listen, everything in the ladies' room, no holds barred. Go ahead.
No holds barred. And one of the questions we like to say is, what's the most, aside from this one, what's the most interesting or memorable experience you ever had in a ladies' room?
In a ladies' room, what's the most interesting and memorable?
In a gym, we'll include locker room in that. But usually most people are doing public ladies' room kind of experiences.
Oh, I don't know. I can't think now. What do some other people say? Just give me one.
Some of them have been amazing. A lot of my guests, including myself, have had the experience where you've been in a ladies' room and somebody in the next stall is sobbing. And you have
I've been through. Yes, I've
all had that experience.
I've done some counseling in the ladies' room.
Yeah, and with total strangers, and
always
they don't know who you are, you don't know who they are, and you come into their life. And I really do believe that in many respects, that's saying about people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And sometimes we're just in the right place at the right time to be somebody's reason. And
I've seen it. And I can I sometimes if I'm standing next to somebody that's upset, I could feel it. And I always wind up talking to them, and I'm like get them to tell me what's going on.
Yeah. One of the funny things
happens.
is we usually say somebody's sobbing, and we always do this. It makes no sense. We always say, "Are you okay?" Which, of course, they're obviously not okay if they're sobbing and the ladies are.
Well, that's like kind of it, to let them start talking. Yeah. But they have to. But I hope whoever knows, if you're crying and I come up to you, you're going to get some tough love.
Yeah. Well,
because sometimes you need that. Hug first. Hug after. Hug first. But in between, I'm going to be like, girl, you look at yourself in the mirror and look how good you're crying over him. Next. He'll be back. But next, I promise
you can become a therapist with that kind of.
I've been divorced 18 years, 19 now. Not in 19 years, and that's one of my favorite things about being on the show is I could talk about a lot of different things, and I learned a lot about people only through my divorce because I didn't go away to college. I never left New Jersey, and I had to learn how to live and learn what people are like outside of my block.
Right.
And I learned the hard way. So I can always tell people I could talk about a lot of things.
I think I learned a tremendous amount in my divorce, but I think the number one thing I learned was about myself. And
how strong you are?
Well, how strong I was, but also thinking I was married for 100 years. And for the first time in my life, in a quarter of a century, I got to think about, what do I want? And what do I need? And ask myself questions, like even silly things, whether it was like putting tomatoes on the salad or, I preferred dark meat chicken, but I was eating white meat chicken for years.
Yeah.
That's what he liked. Even silly little things like that to where do I want to live?
Wow.
And I got divorced right before my kids both went to college.
That's hard.
Yeah, it was a lot of transition. I also had spinal surgery during that time. So that, of course, was major. And one of my girlfriends came, I just lost you. One of my girlfriends came to the hospital and she had breast cancer surgery the year before. So you know how sometimes you're having a little pity party for yourself and then somebody comes along who had a much worse situation?
Yes.
And she came and she visited me in the hospital and she showed me this picture of her after she'd had to have a total mastectomy. And she looked horrible in the hospital. And now she's running marathons again.
Oh, good for her.
She said to me, I promise you, a year from now, it will be better. It may not be all better, but it will be better. And she was
right.
And that's the advice now that I give everybody. And it sounds like that's the same message you're getting. So the last question I have for you.
Oh, no.
If you could, and no, this is a fun one, especially because you have a daughter. If you could give one piece of health advice to your 21-year-old self, what would it be?
Don't get ahead of yourself and don't let yourself ever gain weight. Mm-hmm. Just be careful. Stay within 5 pounds. At 21, I should have said, don't let yourself go over 5 pounds.
Yeah.
And my daughter's now seeing that because she's dissecting her first dog. She's in vet school.
Wow.
And she's like, I can't. And it's so funny because Gabby's like the lost child. Nobody knows about her. And
because you're obsessed with your son? Oh, did I say that? I have a son and a daughter too, so I know.
So you get it. And she doesn't want the attention, so she always pushes me away, so he doesn't, so he even gets more. Mm-hmm. But she's like, Mom, I'm so disgusted with the fat looks like inside the body. Yeah. And I'm going to be so much more health conscious now. We're a different generation, Doc. We did not come from such a health conscious thing, I mean, I grew up eating cookies and milk. Wonder Bread and cookies and milk for breakfast.
Oh, for breakfast. We always had cookies and milk for like a bedtime snack.
There was no bedtime snacks.
You could do.
It was cookies and milk, and my mother still eats that way.
Wow. And is she healthy?
Yeah. No. Oh God, no. And I argue. It's funny. You'll see her. I kid around with her, and you can't tell. She's very modest. I say, Mom, taking you for a colonic. I say that on TV just to get a reaction. She's like, oh my God, no, Dolores, stop talking like that.
But has she had a colonoscopy?
She does not. No.
Okay. Have you had well, you're not old enough to have a colonoscopy yet. Everybody over.
I did because
needs the colonoscopy.
Yeah.
Unless they have medical problems or unless their doctor tells them they need it sooner.
She has high blood pressure. She's probably 100 pounds overweight. My sister's also very over 100 pounds overweight.
And have you talked to them about the Ovalone? Oh, they had the lap band.
She had the lap band. It didn't work. My mother
What about
did
your
not
mother?
have no, she never had will not do anything like that. And she's so unhealthy. And
Would she
I
consider
tried
the
to help her.
Ovalone?
No, she will not consider even taking her medication correctly.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's
So
frustrating.
it's very frustrating. But and there's only so much I could do when I go there and I see her eating Entenmann's chocolate cake for breakfast. I say, Ma, you can't do this. It's got to stop. So, you know, you do the best, but not everybody wants to listen. But I can't shove it down their throat, my advice.
Right.
But I can tell them how much better they will feel. I wish they could see the better quality of life if they just got
and
a
they're
hold on
seeing
what
the
they're
change
doing.
in you. And that's where you can be, is you can be an ambassador of health and wellness, because she's seeing the change in you and just how much better you feel and how much happy you are. You know, we're always focusing on what we look like, and, you know, that's a girl thing, and we're focusing on our clothes because that's what we do. But the fact of the matter is, the most important thing is that you feel so much more energetic and you feel happier, and
You feel like great.
you're sleeping better and you're interacting with people better. All right. So the last question, what's the most important thing about you that most people don't know?
Oh, the most important thing about me that most people don't know? I don't know, because I think everyone knows everything now. I hold back on nothing. I spend a lot of time alone.
Okay. That's not something that I would have guessed.
I am alone a lot, and I think a lot. I don't turn my radio on. When I'm home, I don't turn the TV on. I like quiet. And I don't always, I walk my dogs, but most of the time I'm alone. I'm trying to acclimate myself to that, because I came from a small house with 5 kids. Then I got married. Then I had kids. And for 20 years, this was the kid house. And now I sit in a house that you could hear a pin drop. And
but is that
I'm
by
trying to find
choice,
myself.
or is that because you haven't made other options or other plans?
It's by choice, because I want to do something that I've never done before and be able to do it.
You want to enjoy being with yourself.
I want to enjoy being with myself, and I want to learn how to do things for myself.
And you are.
Well,
and
I am. It's not easy. I fight it.
So that brings us back to where we started, about how you are the master of reinvention. And I have every confidence that the next thing you create will be fabulous. And when you do, I hope you get in touch and come talk to us about it.
I will, Doc. It's
and
been
then
a
in
pleasure.
the meantime, as soon as we sign off, I'm going to take you up on working out that girls' night.
Oh, let's do it. That would be great.
Thank you so very, very much. We were in the ladies' room with Dolores Catania. And enjoy tomorrow. I can't wait to tune in.
Come over.
I will. Bye.
All right. Bye.
That's all we have time for today. But let's keep the conversation going on Twitter or Facebook at Dr. Donnica. And please join us next week for another episode of In the Ladies' Room with Dr. Donnica. Real conversations with real women about really intimate topics.